In this video, we are going to talk about Pengu, some of its recent price action, the important support and resistance areas, and where we can expect the price of Pengu to go in the coming days and weeks. So we will be looking at the weekly chart, and what we can see right here is that in the last few weeks, we've seen Pengu get a pretty significant dump. Since early May, we've seen Pengu go from over 1 cent all the way down to 0.006. This is after in the weeks prior, we've actually seen Pengu get a rally all the way down from where it is at right now, basically, to over 1 cent. This rally and then the dump look nearly symmetrical. We've just seen Pengu get a rally for a few weeks and then just dump the entire way back down for a few weeks right after that. And right now Pengu is approaching this support area at around 0.006. We've actually seen it get all the way down there and get some support from there and starting to rally a bit in the last few days. This area has behaved as significant support for Pengu back in February to April. We've seen Pengu actually get some consolidation back then. This was when Bitcoin was starting to rally. Bitcoin went all the way down to 60k, and then in February it started to get a relief rally all the way up to over 80k. So during that time we've seen Pengu starting to consolidate and then get a very significant rally. But then since early May, since we've seen Bitcoin starting to dump and get all the way back down to 60k, we've actually seen Pengu starting to follow it and dump as well. And it is actually looking pretty similar to how Bitcoin moved. It went all the way back down to where it was back in February. We can see this with both Bitcoin and Pengu, and at this area of 60k with Bitcoin and 0.006 with Pengu, we've seen both coins starting to slow down with the dump and get some support. It's actually pretty interesting. 60k for Bitcoin and 0.006 for Pengu. So there is definitely a lot of similarity with that. Also, we are pretty close to the area where Pengu got support from back in the October liquidation event, which was a very significant sell-off across the entire crypto market. And we've seen Pengu just get support from the same level again. So this seems to be a very strong support area for Pengu. Another support area we have right below that is basically the all-time low at around 0.004. So these are two very crucial support areas for Pengu. Now Pengu is testing the first one, and we are about to see whether Pengu can get support from here and potentially even get a trend reversal. We've seen Pengu be in a downtrend since July of 2025. It has continuously dumped for many months until this recent rally back in April. So it is definitely possible for Pengu to get a trend reversal from here, but I wouldn't say it's likely at all at the moment. We haven't really seen it happen yet. We are still in a structure of lower highs as well as lower lows. Currently, Pengu is attempting to perhaps get a bit of a slightly higher low, but there's absolutely no confirmation of that yet. Also, guys, if you're enjoying these updates and you want more videos about Pengu as well as other meme coins and altcoins, make sure to subscribe to not miss that out. It helps the channel way more than you know, and it allows me to continue making these updates. So now going back to the analysis, in my opinion, it is quite likely for us to see Bitcoin getting a pretty significant relief rally sometime in the coming weeks, since Bitcoin went all the way back down to the support area of 60k, which is very crucial for it and where it got the relief rally from back in February, as well as the RSI on the daily chart for Bitcoin being very oversold, basically the exact same level of where the RSI was back in February as well. So we have a very similar setup with both the price and the RSI for Bitcoin being at the same level as where Bitcoin started the last relief rally from and went all the way up to over 80k. It got a rally of over 30% back then. So now I am expecting it to get a bit of a rally again, but this time a smaller rally, since Bitcoin is in a downtrend and I think that we are still in a bear market most likely. I've went into more detail about Bitcoin as well as other altcoins in some of my previous videos, so make sure to check them out if you want to see my in-depth analysis of Bitcoin. But for this video, I'm not going to get too much into Bitcoin, but what's important to understand is that in my opinion, a rally for Bitcoin in the coming weeks to about 70 to 75k is quite likely, and if that does happen, then Pengu will most likely follow it as well as other altcoins in the market. Of course, it's not guaranteed whatsoever, but the chances of a bit of a rally, or at least the dump by Pengu slowing down, does increase significantly if Bitcoin gets a bit of a relief rally, similarly to what we've seen back in April. So I do think that it's possible for Pengu to get a bit of a rally, but again, since the rally by Bitcoin, I am expecting it to be a lower high and continue the downtrend. I think that it will most likely also be a lower high for Pengu, and I think that a trend reversal in the long term for Pengu is quite unlikely, and that it will probably just continue dumping further in the long term. And I do think that even if it does get this relief rally, it will eventually break down below the support area and head all the way back down to the next support area, which is the all-time low, and from there it could maybe get a more significant rally. But really, in my opinion, I can't say that I'm too bullish about Pengu in the long term. In general, I'm also not very bullish about altcoins as a whole, since we are still in a bear market, as I said, and in bear markets, altcoins perform very poorly historically. At least for the most part, most altcoins significantly underperform Bitcoin. As Bitcoin continues to dump and create new lower lows, most altcoins underperform Bitcoin and dump even more, and I don't see a reason to why Pengu would be any different really. I think that it will most likely continue to, at the very least, head all the way down to its all-time low, and potentially even breaking down below it and creating new all-time lows as we go further into the bear market. Of course, this isn't financial advice whatsoever, but I do think that it's quite likely for Pengu to happen in the long term, probably later into 2026 or potentially even into 2027. But I am quite pessimistic about most altcoins, and I don't really see a reason to why Pengu would be an exception. Of course, there can be some exceptions, but again, I'm not too optimistic about Pengu. In the short term, as I said, there is definitely some potential for a bit of a rally since it is at a crucial support area, and also I am expecting a bit of a rally for Bitcoin, so Pengu might follow it. It could even outperform Bitcoin for a short while. It's certainly not out of the question, but I do think that eventually we will see Pengu continuing to dump further. And also, as I said, in general, I'm quite pessimistic about altcoins, and historically for us to see an altcoin season across the entire altcoin market, we first need to see Bitcoin getting to new all-time highs, followed by Ethereum getting new all-time highs, and currently Bitcoin is about 50% down from its all-time high, and Ethereum even more than that. So I think that the chances of an altcoin season anytime soon are very slim to none, honestly, and I think that it will probably not happen for many more months. So I do think that even if Pengu gets a bit of a rally sometime soon, the chances of it really getting a trend reversal, as I said, and breaking above this recent high and even getting all the way back up to the all-time high levels that we've seen back in July 2025, as well as earlier in December 2024, I think that the chances of Pengu getting such a rally anytime soon are very, very slim, and I would expect it to not happen for probably many more months until we really see Bitcoin doing a lot better, as well as Ethereum, and us potentially getting an alt season, which again, it could take years before that happens. So really, other than in the short term, there's not much I can say about Pengu that is positive. Of course, with such a small market cap meme coin, things are very volatile and could change very quickly. So I will keep updating you guys if anything changes. So make sure to subscribe to not miss that out. And if you're getting any value from these videos, it will help me very much if you hit the subscribe button. Thank you for watching, guys. That's going to be it for this update, and I will see you in the next one.